Along many bills signed into law this month, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders signed the Blue Envelope Bill, designed to help drivers with autism during any encounters with police officers. 5 News reporter Parker Abels explains how this will benefit both people on the spectrum and law enforcement officers.
The Blue Envelope Bill gives anyone on the autism spectrum a chance to communicate with officers of their diagnosis.
If you're pulled over or have an interaction with law enforcement, you just hand them that envelope, and it'll contain some standard language on it explaining that this individual has autism, and obviously that will change how the law enforcement officer approaches it.
Arkansas is the 7th state to issue this law and first out of the southern states. Ludwig Kozlowski Jr., who is the vice chair of the Governor's Council of Development Disabilities, explains why this is so beneficial for those on the spectrum.
When you're on the autism spectrum, which I am, you can get really overwhelmed and forget things. You could start flapping your arms, which, if it's someone else who may not be on the spectrum, cops may misread or misunderstand, and then we take things very black and white sometimes.
This law aims to protect drivers, and the envelope will be free to anyone who needs it.
You hear about stories where actual individuals on the spectrum are tased, or there are incidents that happened where people got hurt that were unnecessary, that shouldn't have happened. If we have something like this, that could be very helpful to have that discussion and that understanding there.
We don't anticipate any cost associated with it. It's going to be as simple as we have 134 revenue offices across the state. You'll be able to obtain one at any of those offices. And then also you'll have the option of ordering one online.
Scott Harden with the Department of Finance and Administration hopes it reaches and helps thousands of Arkansans.
We all know someone with autism with a diagnosis, whether it's a family or a friend. So one, we're going to have to do a good job of communicating the availability of this program to Arkansans, and we want to see people utilize it.
Kozlowski Jr. just wants to remind everybody to treat those with autism with the same respect you treat anyone else.
Important to, when you're dealing with individuals with the autism spectrum, they're no different than anyone else. We just think of the world a little bit differently. So it's important to never just judge a book by its cover, to always treat people as they want to be treated.
Covering news where you live, Parker Abels, 5 News.
The bill will be implemented on January 1st, 2026. The envelopes will be available at your local revenue office or on the Arkansas DFA website. A road construction project is set to get started tomorrow after nearly 7 years of planning. Work begins this week on the first phase of the Highway 71 corridor project. According to the city of Fayetteville, the work will impact several parts of business along 71, including School Street and College Avenue. They'll be adding sidewalks and adding infrastructure like new lighting and drainage upgrades. At least one lane will remain open in each direction during construction. We're approaching the final week for small businesses impacted by last year's Memorial Day weekend tornado outbreak to apply for Small Business Administration loans. The deadline to apply for the economic disaster loans is March 3rd. That's just 1 week from tomorrow. And according to the Small Business Administration, the program is open to small businesses like the agricultural cooperatives, nurseries, and other private nonprofits. The loan covers financial losses due to severe storms, straight line winds, tornadoes, and flooding between May 24th and May 27th of 2024. You can find all the details on how to apply on 5newsonline.com. When a friend or a loved one is diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's, the caregiver is thrown into a whole new challenge. Support groups are normally their go-to place. 5 News anchor Darren Bob tells us there are multiple support groups in Northwest Arkansas.
We really try to fill that gap between receiving the diagnosis from the doctor and then feeling alone.
Lauren Gale is a social worker at the Schmeeding Center in Springdale. The center hosts 7 different support groups, all designed to help those who are either a caregiver or have a family member diagnosed with a form of dementia.
When you see someone coming in for the first time and they think that they're alone, they think it's just them, and then they walk into a room and a support group and they hear other people say, no, you're not alone. And you just see their tension physically escape their body because they're finally with other people who understand.
Gail says the 7 different support groups meet once a month in different cities like Bella Vista, Rogers, Springdale, Gentry, and Fayetteville. She says one of the best things about these support groups is they are led by the caregivers themselves.
Peer-to-peer support is so important. They're watching people or getting to meet people, getting support from people who are actively living it. They get to watch their mistakes and learn from their mistakes, but then also get to see their successes.
She says one of the worst things you can do is think you can do this all by yourself.
You are going to be welcomed with open arms and people who understand what it was like for their first time. We have caregivers who have completed their journey, their loved one has passed, but they continue to come to group because it's therapeutic for them. It's going to be the best place to get real life circumstances and information and what's in our area.
Covering news where you live, I'm Darren Bobb, 5 News.
To find a support group through the Schmeeding Center, head to our website, 5newsonline.com. We have a link to the center's homepage. Tomorrow will mark 3 years since the start of the war between Russia and Ukraine. The war began on February 24, 2022, when Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Following the start of the war, the United States and the European Union both imposed severe sanctions on Russia and have provided billions of dollars in help for Ukraine. The war has claimed the lives of tens of thousands of people on both sides, including nearly 13,000 Ukrainian civilians.